What's up, guys? I am doing my UFC year-end awards, basically. I just wanted to crack in another video, talk to you guys, about just how awesome of a year this was for just the year of fighting we saw. We saw so many great fights. We saw so many great knockouts. We saw great redemption from a lot of fighters. And it was just awesome year to begin with, and I'm gonna start off from top to bottom. I'm gonna give you the nominees, and then I'm gonna give you my personal winner. Obviously this is subjective, so if you guys have a different opinion, the 15 of you guys have a different opinion than me, then it is what it is, just like the great Max Bless Holloway would say. So I'm gonna go off with the first award, most improved fighter of the year. I'm gonna start off with Juan Bolsevich. Juan Bolsevich, I think, did he start? Yeah. He actually started off this year with a knockout. Uh, he lost to Thiago Santos. He got knocked out, but he had a pretty, even before that he had a good run. But I was like, in my head, I was like, man, maybe Bolsevich was so, because he had made a previous one where he beat Nikita Krylov. It's not Rob Font. I forgot the light skinned wrestler he fought, but he choked him out standing, and he had fought some other. He'd beat what's his name, Manoa. He had beat Manoa in a rematch, and he looked really really good coming up to the Thiago Santos fight, but he lost. And then he gets matched up with Luke Rockhold, and I'm like, all right, I think Luke is gonna beat him. And my thing was that I thought Juan Bosphorus was really successful because the light heavyweight division was just not that competitive. There wasn't no stars, and it just seemed like, nobody was in the division, no one was progressing. And man, did he knock out Luke Rockhold cold. Cold, dude. That broke my heart for Luke. And I like Luke Rockhold a lot, but he knocked him the fuck out. And then he continues that and fights another middleweight, great, former Strikeforce champion. Even Luke, former Strikeforce champion, former UFC champion. Let's get that out the way too. But he fights Jacare Souza, 5-round decision. It was a little boring. I had Jacare beating him too because I thought Jacare was gonna let his hands go and mix in the takedowns. But Juan Bolchevich stopped every takedown. Had great takedown defense. It was a really boring fight, but it is what it is. It was one of those things. It's like, you know, Juan Bolshevich has just really proved that, hey man, I'm an elite level light heavyweight, and he's gonna fight Corey Anderson. And I think a lot of people are giving it to Corey weirdly, and I like Corey. I actually had Corey beating Johnny Walker. Go check that video out if you think I'm lying. But it's a completely different fight because Juan Bolshevich has really proved at a high level that he can stop takedowns. But yeah, we're gonna see what Corey's about. But Corey has a really good gas tank, so it's gonna be a freaking hard fight to judge. But that's next year though. Next fighter is Jorge Masvidal, which is a lot, and I have him actually. And don't worry, I have him in fighter of the year contention. So it's not just this. Jorge Masvidal has really really improved since losing to people like Damian Maia, which I thought was really really close, and then Wonder Boy, which I didn't think was actually close. I actually thought Wonder Boy schooled him. If you watch that fight, Wonder Boy dropped him. A lot of people got short-term memory loss, but it is what it is. I have nothing against Jorge. Not my favorite fighter in the world, just not my guy. But you know, it's interesting because he was in a really good spot after he had, I think, beat was it Rob Pearson? I think Ross Pearson, Ross Pearson, and Jake Ellenberger, and then knocked out Donald Cowboy Cerrone, and he was in a position where he could fight for a title, and he blew it. And everyone that's talking about Hoyer, like, man, he deserves this moment, and I'm happy that he's finally getting talks for a title shot. I'm like, he had the same opportunity, he just lost to Damian Maia and Wonder Boy, but he knocked out Darren Till, knocked out Ben Askren, and beat Nate Diaz. I wasn't too surprised by. Darren Till kind of surprised me, but Ben Askren, I had him beating Ben Askren, and I had him beating Nate. Jorge is a really great competitor. I just don't know if he can be a champion in the division. I don't know if he can beat Usman. Usman's on something. He's just on a different level, you know. And I'm not the biggest fan of Usman, but you gotta respect the guy now. Like that guy, you know. And for people that think I'm hating, go check out Colby Covington. And I know this is practice. I don't like talking about practice, but look at Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal, just wrestling. And I understand people Ben Askren. There's no video evidence of that. Bring up video evidence of Ben Askren like destroying or dominating Jorge Masvidal, then you got me. But there's no because I know what kind of wrestler Ben Askren is. He's a defensive like wrestler. That's why his things was called funk wrestling. A lot of people pay attention to what they're talking about. You know, it is what it is. But that's besides the point. He really improved from being I think number 10 or number 7 or I forgot. He was really low in the rankings. From being a title challenger and having his own belt. So he deserves most improved. And the third guy is Justin Gaethje. This is hard. This is a hard one for me to pick. But I'm going to give it to Jorge Masvidal. And let me explain why Gaethje knocking 3 people out and overcoming 2 knockout losses over Dustin Poirier and who else? And Eddie Alvarez. And then going after that to knock out James Vick, Edson Barboza, and Cowboy Cerrone. The reason why Jorge's resume is more impressive than Juan Boschevich is first, Juan only had 2 wins, right? So even though Juan beat like high level competition at middleweight, they're not light heavyweights. And then Justin Gaethje. Here's the thing. Justin, and this is why he's improved, but if you look at the situation, he hasn't improved from where he started from. He was top 5, right? When he beat Michael Johnson. He hasn't moved. He went down and went back up. Jorge, in my opinion, went extremely down and went back up to the point where he has the choice of fighting for a title, fighting Conor, or fighting Nick Diaz. That's how he's improved to the point where he's a superstar. Gaethje isn't a super. He's a star, but he's not a superstar, and that's why I give it to Jorge Masvidal. Next category is a breakout star of the year. The contestants is Jared Cannonier, Rozenstruik, and Alexander Volkanovski. This one's a hard one for me. Jared Cannonier had a great year. I think he beat Anderson Silva and Jack Hermanson this year. I think David Branch was 2000. Yeah, I think David Branch was 2018. Rozenstruik, man, I seen that guy when he fought Alan Crowder, bro. Oh my god, I think he had 4 fights this year too. But when I seen him fight Alan Crowder, and I like Alan Crowder. I saw Alan Crowder fight Greg Hardy, and I became a fan. I was like, wow, Alan Crowder's a cool guy. I was like, yo, he's awesome. And then I see him fighting Rozenstruik in the prelims, and he touches Alan Crowder in the face and just sits him down. And then fights, who did he fight? Who am I? Arlovsky. He fight Andre Arlovsky, and beat him in just quick fashion. Just took his ass out. And then he fought Alice Overeem in one of that one broke my heart, man. Alice should just that sucks, bro. That sucks, man. That has to break your heart at some point. But he killed him, man, in the lip, But yeah, he beats Alistair. So he knocks out 3 people, has 4 fights this year, but has 3 noticeable fights this year. Just came out of nowhere, and now he's gonna fight Francis Ngannou. Then you got one guy. It's hard for me not give him this award, but it's like I'm thinking about giving it to somebody else, but it's like I can't deny him. Volkanovski, he beat Aldo and Holloway this year, and near the end of last year, he beat Chad Mendes. If he had beat Chad Mendes this year, I would have gave it to him and won a championship, but this is hard for me. Yep, I'm giving it to Rozenstruik, even though Alexander, he won a title this year and beat Aldo, which is more impressive than Rosenstrike being Crowder, Andre Arlovski, and Alistair, and he won a championship. I'm giving to Rosenstrike because he came from absolutely nothing to stardom. You know what I'm saying? Like now he has a name, and it's kind of crazy. It's like, and Jared, he's fighting Robert Whittaker, but I like Jared, so it is what it is. But and then show of the year, you got 239, 241, 244, and then 245. I had to put fourth one in there because I had to put 245 in contention. Really great main event, awesome prelims. The main event show opener with Peter Yan Uriah Faber was a great fight, and then Marlon Moraes Jose Aldo was a really good scrap. Even Irene Aldana knocking out Caitlin Vieira, and then Jeff O'Neal knocking out Mike Perry, and Matt Brown knocking out Ben Saunders. Really great prelims. But the two title fights, Volkanovski had a great performance, but it's just Nunez. But it wasn't that good of a fight. And then Nunez and then Jermaine Duran really disappointed me. So I have to put it in there because of the prelims, the main event, and then Peter Yan destroying Uriah Faber and then Jose Aldo. But the two title fights didn't live up to expectation. So I can't. But man, Colby Covington versus Usman was awesome. And then 244 was the exact opposite in my opinion. From prelims all the way to the main event, all entertaining. Everything, nothing disappointed. Nothing, man. What was it? It was like, did Liam Good fight in that? I think, is it Liam Good? I forgot the guy's name, Cyborg or whatever. Shane Burgos' teammate, he knocked somebody out. Then Shane Burgos destroyed Malik Kaiwan. And then, Corey Anderson versus fucking Johnny Walker was great. Kevin Lee versus Gregor Gillespie was fucking eye-opening. Derek Lewis versus Ivanov was a fucking slugfest. Wonderboy versus Vicente Luque was just a classic. Just showed great technical work. Kelvin Gastelum Darren Till was extremely entertaining, my personal opinion, because you just seen Darren Till really just evolve in front of us. And then just Jorge and Nate Diaz. Disappointed because they didn't get to go. I really wanted to see 4 and 5. I really wanted to see if Nate could turn it up. Even though I don't think Nate would, I think we deserve to see that. And I think it was just, it left a bad taste in your mouth. But it was a great, phenomenal show. Awesome show. And then 241. The prelims was whatever. Even the main card, like Derek Brunson, Ian Heinisch, was entertaining. And then Sadiq Youssef knockout was alright, but the 3 fights that they promoted and delivered, Costa versus Romero, Nate versus Pettis, and then DC versus Stipe was like, oh my god. And then you had, and also you have 239, John Jones, Thiago Santos, really entertaining fight. Thiago Santos showed a lot of heart, man. Probably just toughest fighter of the year. I don't have that as as an award thing, but man, he destroyed his kneecaps, bro. And then Holly Holm getting knocked out by Amanda was entertaining. And then the Ben Askren, Jorge Masvidal madness, and then Luke Rockhold getting knocked out was crazy. What was the show opener? Oh yeah, and then Diego Sanchez versus Michael Chiesa was bananas, because Michael Chiesa just outclassed him. But I'm going to go 241 because I thought those 3 fights was just so great, like back to back to back, man, and just awesomeness. So I'm going to go 241 as show of the year. That's my pick. Then for fight of the year. This one was hard because there was a lot of great fights this year, but I had to narrow down to 3. My personal opinion. I'm going to start off with DC Stipe, which is awesome fight. Two. And awesome fight. DC, came off really strong in the beginning, and then Stipe came back really late. and with that comeback, man, and just them body shots and just the late adjustment. But like, you saw everything in that fight, man. You saw, DC's awesome wrestling throws, and you saw Stipe's great boxing in the fourth. And even DC was just slugging it with him. Obviously, the eye pokes was... I love DC. I really do. But that one was like, all right, come on, guys. Like, and it's crazy. It's only Stipe he's ever done that with. I'm positive he's never done that with anyone else. It's only Stipe. But yeah, that was a little irritating. But it was a great fight. Great fight. And then you have Colby versus Usman. Just shocked me, bro. I really thought we was going to see a takedown. Like, not one, like, actual takedown landed, And they just slugged it out. I had it, at first I had it 3-1 Colby, but now I look back at it, I had it 2-2 in the fifth. And just, you saw Colby's toughness, and you saw the championship heart of Usman, and just two guys just going at it, just rivals, just till the end, and they brought the best out, and I felt like we saw them at their peak, and we saw the best performance out of them. And I'd love to see a rematch, but I don't think I have a weird odd feeling I don't think we're ever gonna see that. But and how could they top like that performance, man? And just Usman landing that, like, just letting his that jab dictate the pace, and then body shots, bro. The body shots hit him in the third, really paid off in the fifth. So he could just, like, even though Colby's stamina was deficient, or like was decreased, his stamina was still at the same with Usman. I felt like he was still slugging it out, but it just was level. It was level. You could see in the first round he was on a different level than Usman. Like, he was throwing so many shots at him. He was phasing Usman. But just a great fucking scrap between two wrestlers, man. That's what's so surprising. Then you have Izzy versus Gaslam. Just craziness, bro. You want to see just a knockout brawl, people getting hurt left and right, back and forth, just going at it, and then just seeing someone I'm not a fan of Israel Adesanya. I'm not gonna lie. I had Kelvin. I'm a super big fan of Kelvin, and he proved so much. Izzy really gained a lot of my respect in that fight, and beating one of my boys, it hurt, but it was one of the greatest. It was almost like, if anyone watches like basketball, it's like Michael Jordan-esque, coming down and just hitting that, or you could say even Kawhi Leonard, just coming down and just hitting that buzzer beater, at the end, and just killing it, after being destroyed in the first few quarters. And that's what it was, man. Like, Izzy was getting his ass whooped in that fourth round. He got head kicked, bro, by a fucking wrestler, and I know Kelvin's more like more of a complete mixed martial artist than that, but like, man, Kelvin, I thought Kelvin had that in the back, and that motherfucker Israel Adesanya just fucking went Matrix mode and just ended him and hit him with like 3 knockdowns and just fucking let him know, like, I'm fighting Robert Whittaker, bro, and you're not gonna stop me. And I thought Izzy Gaslam was way better than, even though I love Colby and Usman, I thought that was better than that one. The one hard one was it better than Stipe because of the finish. And I'm giving it to Izzy and Gaslam because it was so crazy, and I think it tops at least the top 10 or top 5 all-time greatest fights of all time. So it's just such an historic fight, and just craziness, man. Craziness. Submission of the year. So you have Bryce Mitchell with the twister. You have Jack Hermanson with the single guillotine against David Branch, and then you got Corey Sandhagen actually on the Barclays, the Cejudo Dillashaw card prelims with the armbar. I forgot who he did it to, but it was a crazy armbar, just in my head. The Corey Sandhagen, you see arm bars, it is what it is. I think that just kind of put everyone's like, oh, that's Corey Sandhagen, man, he's legit. So, elevation, all that. But for me, the most impressive ones was Jack Hermanson and Bryce Mitchell. Jack Hermanson, I roll sometimes, and just, when you do jiu-jitsu, man, those kind of guillotines, I know if you get the right elevation, it's just getting that single, because the guy, if he gets his leg out of your, that area, he can just dismantle the guillotine and just get in the side control. That's why I prefer to do like full guard guillotines, or like full mounted guillotines when you're on top and then you just elevate. But the fact he did it to David Branch, who was a Renzo Gracie black belt, which is crazy. That's why he's like, it's such and Bryce Mitchell, he did a twister that's never been really done in the UFC, only once. It's really tough, but I gotta give it to Bryce Mitchell, man, because they ain't give that motherfucker his Reebok shorts, man. Them camo shorts, bro. They gotta give my man some camo shorts, dude. So I'm gonna give it to Bryce Mitchell, man. Submission of the year. I really do like Jack Herman's submission, but it is what it is. Next one is actually an interesting one. Rivalry of the year. I got Stipe DC2. Just like the amount of talk about, oh, I'm gonna fight Brock. You're a bitch for fighting Brock. Fight me, all that stuff. And then like when they collided, there was true dislike between each other in that press conference. Just DC overconfident and with such a big ego, by the way, that press conference saying, I knocked you out the first, which he did. He did knock him out, and then Stipe is like, well, it'll be different. And then DC trying to say, stop crying. And Stipe responded like, didn't you cry first? Which is hilarious to me. But, and just the fight was awesome, bro. It was such a great fucking fight. And then you got Colby Usman. That's just been going on forever, bro. Like, even before they were even, like, Colby was an interim champion. They were arguing forever, bro. They were talking smack to each other. And what's crazy? Like, I bet you Colby's plans was never to fight this motherfucker. Never. And Usman was always in his way. Even when Colby was going to fight RDA. The press conference wasn't him and RDA. It was Colby and Usman. Usman was like, shut your bitch ass up. And Colby's like, bro, stop being a mark. Leave me alone. You got Ponzinibbio, bro. Leave me alone. And Colby never fighting Woodley. And then Usman fighting Colby, taking his spot and becoming champion. Almost like, now you have to fight me. Fuck you. I took your championship spot. And it just was... And then, Colby fighting. By the way, Usman's teammate and Robbie Lawler. I know Robbie, American Top Team, I understand. But he left, joined Hard Knocks, and fucking whooped the shit out of Robbie Lawler. So that one was like, oh shit. Usman was like, okay, now I gotta fight this man. Because Usman was trying to say he might fight Jorge Masvidal or Darren Till or whatever when they were gonna fight. And the lead up to that. And... saying a lot of craziness, which I didn't like, but yeah, man, they were just at each other's throat. And then you got Yair Rodriguez versus Jeremy Stephens. First of all, ain't it crazy? It was Dominic Reyes, former champion, like Dominic Reyes, huge prospect, but all I was talking about was Yair versus Jeremy Stephens. Like, man, like this fight is gonna be awesome. I can't wait. They hate each other. And they were just going at it because of the fake eye poke. Well, not fake eye. The actual eye poke that happened in Mexico City. And it caused all this ruckus. And then they had a barn burner, bro. I just wish it was 5 rounds. Because, like, Jeremy Stephens gets dropped with that, with a body kick. And you notice, like, god damn, man. Jeremy got to, I guess, do more sit-ups. Because he gets attacked in that body all the time. Aldo attacked him there. And now Yair does it. And you're like, wow, man, what's going on with you, Jeremy? But Jeremy persevered, man. And, like, when Jeremy said, if he doesn't die, it doesn't count, I truly believe he meant that. And he just had that killer intent about him. And I really wanted to see him knock out Yair Rodriguez. I was like, but he didn't do it. And Yair's just that damn good, man. That good of a striker. Might have to work on that takedown defense if he's ever going to fight like Zabit or any of them cats. But, yeah, that was an awesome rivalry, an awesome fight to cap it off. And it's hard for me, but I'm going to give it to Yair Rodriguez and Jeremy Stephens as rivalry of the year. Now, this one, I'm going to get some slack. I know my homie's been arguing with me over this one, but knockout of the year. You got Kevin Lee, Gregor Gillespie, Jorge Masvidal, Ben Askren, and Valentina Shevchenko and Jessica Ai. Guys, I know everyone's going to go with Jorge and Ben, but I'm going Kevin Lee. And Valentina was a great one too, but I'm just I just nominated her because it was such a great knockout, but you can throw that aside. I'm not picking her. I'm going Kevin Lee, Gregor Gillespie because of the significance. You gotta understand, this man Kevin Lee would have been in a very bad territory of a 3-fight losing streak. Do you understand that? And he was fighting. I know a lot of people are calling him green now, like which is crazy, you know, and disrespectful to a point where like y'all picked him. Don't call him green now. Don't say he was a rookie or whatever. Y'all picked him, man. Stick with him, man. You know, and don't be mad because I picked my boy Kevin Lee to whoop on that fool. But it is what it is. I'm not trying to talk smack. But when Kevin Lee knocked him out, bro, and the way he knocked him was so clean, bro, with that fucking head kick. It was like it was a reminder, like, motherfucker, I'm here to stay. And the fact that he's trying to fight Islam Makhachev, which is crazy. Like, Jorge Masvidal is not going to fight Leon Edwards. Jorge Masvidal doesn't even want to fight Usman, probably. He wants to fight Conor or Nick. Not because it's a bigger payday, but, like, he knows it's easier and there's less risk. You know? There's just less risk to take fighting those two guys versus the other two guys. Kevin Lee, not only he's a fucking warrior in there, and he honestly, he just joining TriStar, and he seemed like he was completely humbled. He just really proved himself this year. Well, in that fight, not this year. He lost to Los Angeles this year, but he proved himself that I could still compete with lightweights. But Jorge had an awesome knockout. I'm not gonna take it. 5 seconds is a record, and he's gonna win. So, like, for me, it's like I'm nobody. You know, at the end of the day, he's gonna win knockout of the year from everybody. So don't worry about me. But I'm gonna give it to Kevin Lee just because just how important that knockout was for his career, how he needed to do it, and it was just awesome redemption. And you how can you not be happy for a guy like that who was just so close to losing? And obviously, I still think Gregor Gillespie is going to be a future champion, but not this year, you know, not next year, not when Kevin Lee's around, bro. Kevin Lee is ready to take over, and I think if Kevin destroys Islam Makhachev, who I think is actually low key better than Khabib, man, you know, and he trains with TriStar, I don't think Khabib's gonna get the GSP fight, but if you want something close to GSP, fight Kevin Lee. That would be crazy, bro. But I don't think Kevin Lee's legit, man. I think Khabib's gonna retire after Tony, but like Kevin Lee's legit. Yeah. And then you got Female Fighter of the Year. My nominees is Valentina Shevchenko, Amanda Nunes, and Weili Zhang. Weili Zhang beat Tisha Torres this year and then beat Jessica Andrade. Amanda beat who did she beat? She beat Holly Holm and Jermaine Durandamine. And Valentina knocked out Jessica Ai and what's her name? Liz Carmouche. This is a hard one. I was thinking about giving it to Zhang, but she's too green. Like, she hasn't done enough, I think. And Amanda, I gave it to her last year. I think the world gave it to her last year after knocking out Cyborg, and I think her knocking out Holly put her as the GOAT. But and her beating, it's like you can't make a really good debate for giving it to Amanda, but I'm actually gonna give it to Valentina Shevchenko, you know, because just the knockout Jessica Ai and just dominating, even though Liz Carmouche was a boring fight, so was Jermaine Durandamine versus Nunes, so I don't want to hear that. Just dominating Liz and, you know, just showing that you don't, like, just not your weight class. Just the possibility of her just being this long reigning champion at flyweight is so great. With Nunes, I feel like her years are numbered, and I don't see Aspen Ladd beating her, but I do see, I know this is my song, I see Irene Aldana knocking her out one day. I really do. I think Irene Aldana will knock out Amanda Nunes one day. I know Irina lost to Raquel Pennington, I think 2 fights ago, but I think Irina is a little low-key underrated. and she's been fighting a lot. I think I've seen her like 3 times this year. Like, it's crazy. But she had like an armbar over. I think, was it Beth Correa? I think it was Beth. Yeah, she beat Beth. But yeah, she's been fighting so much. So yeah, I gave it to Valentina Shevchenko. I know a lot of people are gonna give it to Nunez, but I thought just knocking out Cyborg was just so crazy last year, and then destroying Raquel Pennington that year. You know, like, I thought that was more impressive. I think, and the fact she proved so many doubters wrong, you know, against Cyborg, which was crazy. So it is what it is. And now to the next one. Fighter of the Year. I got Henry Cejudo, Jorge Masvidal, and Israel Adesanya. Jorge, out of there. Don't even. He's nominated, but he's not a real champion, so I take him out. Henry Cejudo only fought 2 times, so you snooze, you lose. I bet Henry did do some great shit this year. And then Israel Adesanya versus Israel Adesanya, I think, wins it because Anderson Silva, Kelvin Gastelum, and Robert Whittaker. I don't like the guy, but popularity and just his rise and how fast he did it, it's crazy. Even though he was kind of pushed a little bit and, you know, given a little easier fights in the beginning, you know, beating Derek Brunson is no joke. Beating Kelvin Gastelum is no joke, and beating Robert Whittaker is no joke. Even beating Brad Tavares is no joke too. So it's like it's just one of those things. It's like, he proved me wrong, man. He really did. So I got to give it to him. Cejudo had a really good year. If he just had one more fight, you know, knocking out TJ Dillashaw. If Demetrius Johnson was this year too, if he had beat Demetrius Johnson, TJ, and Marlon, I would have gave it to him hands down. But Izzy just had a great year, you know, and just that fight he had with Kelvin, and then just knocking out Whittaker like he had no place being there. And after all those motherfuckers were talking all that, and I had Whittaker because I just didn't. The reason why I picked Whittaker is because of his wrestling background. A lot of people don't know about his wrestling background because I thought he would have wrestled, but like striking wise, man, Wonder Boy beat him, so I was like, fuck. In the striking department, Izzy's probably gonna beat him, but I think he's gonna go for a takedown and try to mix it up. But he didn't, and he got knocked out. And yeah, like, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I'm giving to Israel Adesanya. So those are all my picks those are all my, I guess, my awards given for this year. This was an awesome year, and let's hope next year is just as good. So see y'all.